Rob Scott from UC Today, and today we're going to be taking a fascinating journey into the future of IT leadership. If you're an IT director watching this, you'll probably recognize this scenario. So it's 3 a.m., you're wide awake, staring at your laptop, wondering how you're going to manage 17 different AI tools that don't talk to each other, explain black box AI decisions to auditors, and convince your teams that AI won't replace them, all while somehow delivering on the productivity promises you made to the board. Does this sound familiar? Well, you're not alone. But here's what's remarkable. While some IT leaders are still experiencing this AI anxiety, others have already begun their transformation into what we're calling intelligence architects. Today, I want to paint a picture of where IT leadership is heading, specifically what a day in the life of an IT director looks like in 2030, and how today's leaders can prepare for that evolution. I'm joined by Jeff Smith, Head of Product for Workplace AI, Meetings and Spaces at Zoom. And Jeff's going to be walking us through directly the organizations that they're working with and how they're navigating this transformation. And he's going to be delivering some really great insights into how to problem solve and take this journey towards proactive intelligence orchestration. So lots to unpack. Jeff, thanks for joining us. How's it going? Jeff, thanks for joining us. How's it going?
It's great. How are you, Rob?
I'm very good, thanks. Yeah, very good. Hey, I'm excited to dig into today's conversation. I think this is one that is way overdue on UC Today. So a really, really, really important, crucial bit of insight for our audience here. So Jeff, thanks for joining us. Again, let's start with the transformation you're witnessing. How has the nature of IT leadership challenges fundamentally changed over the past 3 years, let's say, and where IT directors once lost sleep over server outages and security patches, I remember those days, what's now keeping them awake in 2025?
Yeah, I think they still lose sleep over security outages and patches. But in addition, it is really evolving to be much more about orchestrating intelligent systems. It's a whole new set of challenges, and it layers on all of the existing challenges. So they're dealing with the change management of teaching all of their users how to use a brand new set of tools and how to do that in a responsible way that takes into account privacy, security of their data, integrating systems that have never talked to each other, managing that information in a secure and responsible way. It's a whole new world.
You're right. It is a whole new world. We're all experiencing it, aren't we, in our work lives, in our personal lives? But keeping with the theme of the IT leader, let's talk about that mindset. What they're going through. We're obviously seeing a real transition from reactive troubleshooting. AIs can do that now, to proactive AI strategy. Which is kind of where we need them. How significant is this mindset shift, and what does it look like in practice? Can you give us an example of this evolution you're seeing?
Absolutely. There's a lot more that goes into the strategic planning for how their organization adopts some of these new tools. It's really challenging to do that front end work, but also critical. So understanding what are the business impacting changes that they're expecting, how to measure those things, how to determine whether their users are even going to adopt what they roll out. So managing all that through a life cycle is what gives the organization a return on an investment. And the range of returns on investment have been substantial with these tools. So doing that planning up front is really critical. Now, on a platform like Zoom, for example, IT leaders can roll out tools and experiment with some of these in a really controlled way, and they can also customize it to meet their needs depending on what those business impacts that they're expecting are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of those implementation realities. I mean, so let's just get a little bit practical for a moment. What are the primary obstacles organizations face when deploying and managing AI systems at scale? And how do concerns around security and compliance, because that's a real big issue at the moment, and user adoption typically manifest in real implementations? What do you think?
So some of these challenges are really around adapting their systems to support a new set of inputs and outputs. So an AI system can now access a substantial amount of data. Well, how is that data organized? Are the permission management systems up to date? Is somebody going to, access data that they shouldn't just because it was obscured in the past? And so it's a whole new set of security and compliance concerns that these organizations are facing. And as they're looking through this, it is a new set of skills, new set of terminology, and all of these integrated systems, come with an added degree of complexity. It's important to note on this that from the beginning, Zoom has had a really strong stance that we don't train any of our models on user data, customer data at all. And it's important to understand what is the practices of the tools that you're using when you deploy them.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, isn't there? Another thing to think about are, agents. This really got me to start with. AI agents represent a more sophisticated capability than what we saw to start with traditional agents, right? So how do you differentiate between the two? Could you maybe talk our audience through how you see it, and what additional considerations must IT leaders address when implementing agentic AI solutions?
It is a term that's been thrown out quite a bit, so we'll just give our definition of it. We define agents that have the ability to execute commands on the user's behalf, and they do that by using reasoning and memory to solve complex, issues. This is, obviously that's our definition. There are many definitions out there, but this is our view of how we get to both structure and utility understanding of these AI agents. So if my assistant can execute on my behalf, has powerful reasoning and memory associated with it, then that's going to bring value to me. And so we're building AI agents in a really thoughtful way so that employees can easily take advantage of those agentic workflows and do it in a simple way so that users can actually adopt these things without being confused about, okay, is this going to do something that I don't know about? I really need to be in the loop when this agent is using my name to take action. So, we are approaching it in a very responsible way, but it can be viewed as losing some control.
Yeah, speaking of human in the loop, I hear a lot about human AI collaboration, and I think, I totally get it. But there's a philosophy here that I think needs to be addressed. But, so maybe if you could talk me through this as organizations integrate AI more deeply into these workflows, what role should IT leaders play in ensuring effective human AI collaboration, and how do you partner with business leaders to strike the right balance between, automation and human insight? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned it can be viewed as a loss of control if not done well. And so that's one of the key challenges that we have in developing these solutions. For an IT leader, you need to be able to assess some of these tools, and are there proper interfaces for users to monitor outputs that are being done by the AI assistant, and to control the distribution of those outputs, be able to verify that things are being done correctly, and finally having complete transparency and visibility into how that assistant came to the solution that it finally arrived at. So understanding both the operations from the data governance and compliance perspective, the operation from the user perspective, and whether users understand how to use these tools effectively, and also AI ethics, understanding bias mitigation, or fairness or transparency or understanding how these things come to the solutions that they do.
That's really interesting. Let's jump back to AI governance and management, because given the complexity of managing AI across an organization, what framework should IT leaders adopt? How does Zoom support technology managers and leaders with day-to-day oversight through monitoring, reporting, and things like dashboards?
It is absolutely imperative that IT leaders have a governance structure, that they understand the things that they value and the things that they're trying to accomplish, and that they can establish clear risk assessment or mitigation protocols. So Zoom provides a real robust suite of tools for leaders to handle that kind of day-to-day oversight with a centralized admin dashboard. Longer term, leaders really should review these practices, understand where the very rapidly evolving ecosystem is going, and they're bringing their stakeholders into the loop in reviewing the practices. Are they too constricting, where they're not getting the value that they need out of the tools that are available? Are they too loose, where they're having a higher risk profile than they're comfortable with? And adapting to a changing environment.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Lots to think about. Well, this brings me to our core question, I suppose, around the path to 2030. Maybe a few years from now, but for IT directors who are still navigating maybe that initial anxiety and uncertainty around AI implementation, what's their practical pathway to becoming the strategic intelligence architects, as we mentioned, and they're within their organizations, and what their managers and directors need them to be?
I'd say number one is understanding that they need to embrace and experiment. So this is a new world, it's a new set of tools, and users are going to adopt tools that add value, whether they're sanctioned by IT or not. So the more that we provide sanctioned tools that can add value and that users love and are willing to use, the less they're going to use unsanctioned tools, and we can maintain proper compliance and governance framework. So with the right tools in place, organizations are free to adopt a set of tools that will result in the business outcomes that they're looking for. And we're here as a partner to go on that journey with IT leaders in a way that's responsible and helps them to achieve their objectives.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You're not on your own, are you? You've got partners. Tech vendors aren't just tech vendors anymore. They are partners in that journey. So, hey, Jeff, this has been a really interesting conversation. The picture you've painted of 2030 isn't, the science fiction that we all think. It's actually an achievable evolution that starts, with the decisions IT leaders make today. So before we wrap up, for someone watching this who recognizes themselves in that 3 a.m. anxiety scenario we opened up with, what's the very first steps they should start to take on their journey, do you think?
The very first step is education and openness. And so, understanding, partnering even within their organization with the users that are at the forefront of this, that are engaged with different tools, that are in depth in their organization, partnering with those technology leaders within their organization and understanding their needs and their concerns is going to help educate them on what they need to do more broadly in the organization. As well, partnering with their organizations, outside. So, who's in their industry that they can talk with and understand what challenges they've met and how they've overcome them. And of course, we're partners as well. We can provide a lot of insight into what are the challenges and how have other companies overcome them.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those ready to explore how Zoom Workplace can accelerate this transformation, what's the best way to get started in terms of what resources, demos do you have available, or people to speak to?
Oh, absolutely. If you're already a Zoom Workplace customer, you definitely can't have resources available. But for those that aren't and want to explore, Zoom.com has amazing resources for those to get educated on what Zoom has to offer. AI Companion is a fantastic platform and a personal assistant as well. So we are definitely more than meetings these days.
Absolutely. Well, to our viewers, the transformation from anxiety to advantage is happening right now. So the IT leaders who start building their intelligent architecture today will be the ones thriving in 2030 for sure. So here's what you can do immediately. First, honestly assess where you are on this journey. Are you still managing fragmented AI tools, or are you ready to build a really integrated intelligence platform? Second, if you want to see how Zoom Workplace can serve as your command center for this transformation, I encourage you to reach out to Zoom and speak to the experts. The age of intelligence isn't coming, it's here. The question isn't whether you'll need to evolve, but how quickly you can transform from managing technology to orchestrating intelligence. I'm Rob Scott from UC Today. Thanks for watching.